Our reporter Mbali Mthethwa is standing by at the State Capture Commission of Inquiry. Let's go to her now. Good afternoon, Mbali. Take us through today's testimony.
Good afternoon, Mahindra. We had one of the auditors, Peet Venter, speaking giving testimony at the Commission of Inquiry into state capture. And basically, this week's focus is on Bosasa. We first heard about Bosasa and the shenanigans, that the company had been getting up to in terms of briberies and bribing officials, government officials, in return for government tenders. When Andile Ramaphosa came onto the stand earlier this year, he is expected to come onto the stand, to return to the commission sometime this week. We understand that he's not going to be able to come in tomorrow, as he is expected to appear before court, but maybe we expect him the next day or even on Thursday. But at this stage, Peet Venter spoke about Andile Ramaphosa as though he had a plan. He was a man with a plan and a man with somewhat of a vendetta. He spoke about the threats that he had received from Andile Ramaphosa when he wanted him to cooperate and to corroborate statements which were going to be sent to this very commission. Now, he also spoke about how he was invited to a meeting with Andile Ramaphosa, as well as former Bosasa CFO, Mr. Fentonde, that is, and he presented him with two flow charts, and basically the flow charts were detailing how Andile Ramaphosa had planned to bring down Gavin Watson, and he had asked him if he wanted to go down with Gavin Watson for his cooperation, and threatened to expose him and basically report him to SABC and other regulatory bodies. Now, what the flow chart had, he had a document the document with all the incriminating evidence that he had gathered in his time as Bosasa COO, and he was then, at the time, he was trying to get a contract from Gavin Watson, and saying that, it was almost like a tit-for-tat exchange, where he said, it's either I leak this document with all this incriminating evidence, or you give me one of your correctional services contracts. And somehow, I don't know how far this will go with regards to discrediting Andile Ramaphosa's first testimony to the commission. He further went on to speak about a 1.1 million rand amount that was paid for former SABC COO Mbali Mthethwa. This amount amounts to 1.1 million rand. Now, money was moved from one of Gavin Watson's personal business accounts, which is not really associated with Bosasa. The name of the company is called Zest, and the money was moved from Zest into Mioto and then paid into Majava Incorporated. Now, these were the fees. This was money that was expected to go towards Mbali Mthethwa's legal fees. And then he also touched on the 500,000 rand, which was allegedly paid into President Cyril Ramaphosa's campaign fund. So the money was paid. He explained that the money was paid to Andile Ramaphosa, and he says that he was rather surprised and he didn't understand why he was expected to pay. What business Watson had speaking to then Deputy President Cyril Ramaphosa's son, Andile Ramaphosa. And now he detailed how the money, the 500,000 rand, left Watson's personal account and did not come from Bosasa, any of the Bosasa subsidiaries. And he says that the money was then paid into a company called EFG2 under the description social development. And he also says that in his amazement and surprise at this interaction and this amount going to Andile Ramaphosa, he confided in Andile Ramaphosa. And even though Andile Ramaphosa testified before the commission saying that he wasn't really interested. He says that he was very interested. You know, the opposite was true. And so basically that has been the gist of the testimony that we've heard today. Tomorrow the commission continues and it will start at 10. I understand that Peet Venter will be back on the stand for at least 2 hours. That is according to evidence leader Advocate Molefe, who said that she would like to have another 2 hours to just cross-examine and just question Venter's testimony. So that is what we can expect for tomorrow. But then again, I have to say this again, Angelo Griti will be coming back, and South Africans around the country will be glued to their screens to hear what more Angelo Griti will be saying. And yes, and maybe we expect him also to reply to some of the allegations that have been raised by Peter Venter.
Thank you, Mbali. I can't wait for tomorrow myself. Well, you're watching SA Today. It's time for a short break. We'll be back right after this.